Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. So today we have Gary Willems, and he is going to share some awesome stuff with us today. So I can't wait to get going. So, Gary, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, okay. I'm presently live in Melbourne, Australia, and for 8 years I've been a PEMF therapist. PEMF, that stands for Pulsed Electromagnetic Field Therapy, and so I treat people, I rent systems, and I sell systems globally all over the world. Pulsed electromagnetic field therapy is is really, in essence, it charges your cells. So your cells are just like a battery, and they have a voltage. And if you have any chronic illness, you have any injury, you have an associated low voltage in there. So if you have a bad knee, there's a low voltage, and that voltage is fundamentally running everything in the body. We are primarily electric. And so if you have a low voltage, just like a low battery, then your cells aren't running up to their full capacity. So your metabolism, your blood chemistry, everything's slow. Again, just like a low battery. And the other thing about cells and your body is that as we age, our cellular voltage decreases. Okay. They've measured this in studies, and they looked at 65 to 80-year-olds, and they looked at and they measured 18 to 25-year-olds, and they found that a 65 to 80-year-old on average will have less than 50% of the voltage of a 18 to 25-year-old. And again, that's running the whole show. We're primarily electric. It's the spark of light. PEMF, pulse electromagnetic field therapy, is to do a treatment. You're laying on a mat, like a yoga mat. In that mat are copper coils, big copper coils, like the size of dinner plates. Okay, and the physics is that if you run electricity through a copper coil, it generates an electromagnetic field. It's like electromagnet. Okay. And if you pulse it, if you turn it on and off, that is the same physics used in a generator to induce currents in copper. So what we're doing, this is a generator, and works just like that. And so we're inducing currents in the cells, and that's how you charge a cell. A pad charger that you lay your cell phone on, that's a little PEMF device. That's a little pulsed electromagnetic field generator. So that's how we charge the cells, and it takes around 15 to 20 minutes laying on a pad, a full body mat. Like I said, it's just like a yoga mat. Looks like that, but it's a bit thicker. And you lay on that for 15 to 20 minutes, and that will charge the cells. And a charge.
Okay. So
yeah.
when you lay on it, do you feel anything?
No, most people don't feel anything. Number one, there's two types of systems out there, PEMF systems. All right, there's a high intensity system, and then there's a low intensity systems. The ones that I use and sell are low intensity systems. So they induce very low charges, low microcurrents, but our voltage is very low. Okay. Our voltage in the body, and again, this is measurable. They measure this. It's 25 millivolts. So that's 25 1,000ths of a volt. That's
So a
60
lot less
times less
than
than a
my
double A
car.
battery. Sorry?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
A lot
60 times.
less than my car.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's 12 volts. A double A battery is 1.5 volts. All right. And our voltage is 60 times less than a double A battery. So it's very low. But again, that's the spark of life that's running everything. And, PMF, pulse electromagnetic field therapy, is FDA approved in the U.S. for bone fractures that won't heal. They're called non-union bone fractures. So people in bad accidents, um, soldiers, they have a very traumatic injury, and a lot of bone is crushed, and then and they can't move the bone. They can't move the bones together, so they have to pin them. But there's a gap in between that won't heal. But with PMF, it heals. So it's FDA approved for uh, brain cancer, bone fractures that won't heal, non-union bone fractures, depression, anxiety, responsive to pharmaceuticals, incontinence, and one form of arthritis. And people say, well, that's a lot of different things. They said, yeah, but they all have a low voltage. Any chronic illness, any injury has a low voltage. So this addresses uh, a, a an electron deficiency, you could call it.
Yep. And, like everything runs on our cells. So the more energy that we can give them, the better. Just like when you exercise, you're giving your body more energy. So by laying on the mats that you sell, you're charging your body so then you can perform better and heal. And I really like this approach because it goes along with holistic health. And I'm a big advocate on holistic health. You know, I don't take drugs for anything. So I do all of my healing holistically. And I eat healthy, holistic foods. And just by eating healthy foods, you can improve your body so much. Like, it's incredible. So I really like what you do. And is there, like, a certain type of person that this benefits, or is it really for anyone? And
Yeah.
also, is there an age?
Yeah. So it's very non-invasive, and it's safe for everyone. There's 4 major contraindications, so people shouldn't be doing it. Shouldn't be doing it uh, if pregnancy, battery operated implanted devices, because you may be affecting the operation of those. Epilepsy, although there's research that it shows with epilepsy, helps with epilepsy, but manufacturers, the lawyers, liability says just don't go there. And anyone with an organ transplant, because this increases the efficiency of the immune system, and people with organ transplants are taking immunosuppressants to suppress the immune system so it doesn't reject the organ. So anyone of any age, there's only one side effect of this, and which is a good side effect, but you want to do it gradually. Is so we increase cellular voltage. Okay, that's the same charging a battery, so it's going to increase metabolic efficiency, which is good. But initially, well, the thing that happens is that the cells, just metabolic waste, come out quicker, and your organs of elimination, the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, the skin, the colon, um, those organs, it takes a while for them to come up to the same efficiency because they're an organ system. So there's a lag time. So you have to introduce PMF gradually. So you just sort of trickle charge people, slowly charge them, so metabolic waste don't come out too quick. Um, but most of the time, people that follow the correct treatment protocols don't notice anything. But I rent systems too here in Australia, just in Australia. And uh, sometimes, and especially athletes, and I'll talk about them in a minute, they're gung ho and they don't follow the treatment protocols, and they turn it way up, and so they detox a little bit too fast, and you can get diarrhea and things like that. All a good sign it's working, but you just want to do it slow. And just going
Yep.
back to the
And then,
athlete, um, you know, Roger Federer, the tennis player, uh, Djokovic, who's playing here at the Australian Open right now, just won a match with the number one Spaniard. He does PEMF. So athletes and most professional sports teams in the U.S. use PEMF. It's not talked about much, and the other thing is most people still aren't aware of it, although it's been around for 20 years, at least 20 years in the U.S. It's used in hospitals, prescribed by doctors in Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe is far more open to this kinds of technology. Germany and so on. So
okay. And then what we want to know is what are some of the benefits that you've seen using it yourself?
yeah, okay, all right. So it reduces, so it increases circulation, uh, and and therefore oxygenation. It reduces inflammation. Part of inflammation is there's a low voltage there, and it increases if you increase the voltage of a cell, you also increase the pH of the cell. Those two are tied. Those two tied together. So reduces inflammation, and which is a precursor of to most pain. Uh, increases ATP production. ATP is, that's the the energy that the mitochondria make. So it gives you more energy. It improves sleep. I've had many people that, they wear the watches that, or the Oura ring that measures sleep, deep sleep. And I've had people's uh, sleep, deep sleep, double or triple. And of course, deep sleep is where the cells are rejuvenating, the body's rejuvenating, the body's healing. So that works hand in hand. I've had people with MS, multiple sclerosis, help. I've had two people with traumatic brain injuries of 10 and 13 years completely disappear. So that what they had was called post-concussion syndrome. So they were in an accident. One a horse accident, the other was a car, and they got a concussion and they never came out of it. Post-concussion syndrome. One for 10 to 13 years, and I've had two ladies with osteoporosis that so they came to me for treatments, and then they eventually bought a system, and years later, 2 or 3 years later, after bone density scans, they had an increase in the bone density, and that doesn't happen. Both doctors, two different doctors, had never seen that before. I just recently had a lady with she has kidney problems, partial renal failure, and they're wanting to put her on dialysis eventually. And so she had a lot of pain in the kidneys, and she also had edema, water building in the body, building up in the body, and and she was renting the system, and in 2 weeks. She was 85% of her pain was gone, and she'd lost what would that be? 16 pounds in 2 weeks from edema, just from the water weight, and the kidneys starting to work
That's
function better.
awesome.
So I have
It's really
there's
awesome.
lots of stories out there. This heals bone fractures quick. I've had people with uh, um, two ladies with cysts on their ovaries disappear. and I've had people with cancer. I recently, well, it was about 4 months ago, with a tumor in the breast, and that reduced to 50% in around 6 weeks. But the thing is, this doesn't work for everybody. I've also had people come in, somebody with a bad shoulder, rotator cuff or whatever, and one person sees a benefit to varying degrees, and then someone else, nothing happens. And for the life of me, I don't understand that. But there's a lot of variables in people's lives in terms of lifestyle, nutrition, stress. Stress is a really big one. So, but
Well,
the
that
numbers are
sounds
pretty
really
good.
amazing.
Yeah.
How can people reach out to you to get more information?
Okay, well, I have two websites. So, in the U.S., I have my website is PEMF Inc. PEMFINC.com, and then in Australia, or either one, you can come to either one. The other one is PEMF.com.au. So there's lots of information on there. You can download a free ebook on the 10 ways PEMF helps the body to heal, and of course you can get in contact with me. I offer a free 15-minute. I'll call you 15-minute consultation. To ask your specific questions about you or a loved one, and I can tell you other experiences that would probably be relevant. I've treated thousands of people. So I have a lot of stories.
That's so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I got one last question for you. So my slogan is your abilities are infinite. What does that mean to you? This episode of the Infinite Abilities podcast is brought to you by the one and only Infinite Toolbox, where just like all other toolboxes, we will get the job done, guaranteed. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking to save time, boost revenue, or automate your processes, Infinite Toolbox has got you covered. With powerful tools designed to drive leads, expand your reach, and gain your industry secrets, we help you work smarter, not harder. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Visit us at infinitetoolbox.com. That's infinitetoolbox.com, and discover how infinite your potential really is.
Well, pretty much the same thing. It's like there's a saying that kind of goes like this, there's no such thing as an incurable disease, only incurable people. And that's a lot of that is right up there. Attitude, positive, negative, so on. So, there's a lot of power in how you think, and that manifests in directly in your life.
Yep, it does. It does.
It
Well, Gary, thank you so much for informing us on all of that, and I hope a lot of my listeners reach out to you to get your mat and start their journey to a better life. So thank you again.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Nick.
If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in it, the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember, your abilities are infinite.